All right, we're going to recap the lesson that we just did to kind of like summarize what we learned about subtraction with borrowing. And we're subtracting actually fractions with borrowing, and I have a dry erase marker to actually do that. What we're going to do is we're going to do some subtraction of fractions. Now, you know, in order to subtract fractions, what you have to do is you have to have the same denominator. The denominator has to be the same because you can't subtract fractions and you can't even add fractions if the denominator is not the same. The good thing about these denominators is that they're the same. This denominator is 3 and this denominator is 3. And so I can immediately just subtract these numbers just like they are. Remember to leave the denominator the same even in the answer. So 5 minus 2 equals 3, right? Over the number 3. Now there's a situation here that happens when you get the number 3 over 3, which would mean that it would be equal to 1. But we're just going to leave it for that for right now. This 3 minus 1 would 5 minus 1. I gave away the answer. 4 minus 1 rather. 4 minus 1 equals 3. And so we got 3. And 3 with 3 over 3 would equal actually the number 4 here. So that number would be 4. And that could be done many kinds of ways. If, for instance, you had this number, instead of it being 5, it could have been 4 over 3, and that could have ended up being 4 minus 2 would have been 2 over 3. And if that had happened, that would be, the answer would still be fraction, and would be 2 over 3. 4 minus 2 would be 2 over 3. And then 4 minus 1 would be 3. And so that would be your answer there. Anytime the top number here would be greater than this number here, the number that we're using to subtract from, then it's easy to subtract these numbers. The problem comes, however, when you run into a number that is larger than the number that we're going to subtract from. So this number here is greater. 4 is greater than 3, so we're going to have a problem taking 4 from 3. So in this case, we're going to have to do what? We're going to have to borrow. Now, Ray told us earlier in what he was doing is that we would have to borrow one of these, borrow from one of these 5s over here. And what does these 5s actually represent, Ray? What does this 5 actually represent? Right, this 5 actually represents this number 5 in the denominator. How many 5s are these, Ray? Yeah, there are 5 5s here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This whole number 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The whole number is 5, and it represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little 5s right here. So this is, if this were broken up, this would be a representation of 5 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm talking about this number right here. So if I took one of these 5s, Ray, and I'm going to give one of these 5s to this numerator up here, I'm going to scratch out one of these 5s, and I'm going to end up with how many 5s instead, Ray? 4 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4 5s. That would be right here. And then I'm going to take I'm going to take one of these 5s out of this whole number 5 and put it over here with a 3, and that's going to end up being what? 5 plus 3 would be what? Yes, Faith. 5 plus 3 would be 8. That's correct. So I make this 8 instead. So can I take 4 from 8?
Yeah.
Yes. So I take 4 from the 8, remembering that this is not 4 and it's not 5 because I took that one 5 and put it over here. And I take 4 from the 8, and this is going to end up being 4 over what number?
5.
5. Okay, so it's going to be 4 over 5. And this would be 4 minus 2 instead of 5 minus 2. And 4 minus 2, let me see if I can erase that so you can really see that well. 4 minus 2 would be what? The number 2, right? 4 minus 2 is number 2. So now you can kind of see what's going on here. That 4 minus 2 would be that number there. And our new fraction would be 2 and 4 over 5. Okay. Let's take a look at the last one here that I have up here in the example. What is the immediate problem that we see here? What you have to borrow. You cannot take 2 from 1, right? So we'll have to borrow one of these 3's. How many 3's do I have up here, Titus?
How many 3's?
Yeah, how many 3's do I have up here? Jose?
4.
4 3's. I have 4 3's, so I'm going to take one of the 4 3's, and then I'm going to take one of the 4 3's out of here, and I'm going to put that one of the 4 3's with this 1, right? And that's going to make this what number instead? Anybody? If I take one of the 4 3's and put it with that 1 that was up there, what does that make that number instead? If I take one of these 3's and put it up here, what does that make that number instead? Tyler? 4 instead. And so I'm going to take 4 from the 2, or 2 from the 4 rather, and then I'll make that 2 over what number? The denominators stay the same. 2 over what? 3. And 3 minus 1 equals 2. And so your whole number would be 2, and your fraction would be 2 over 3. So our answer would be 3 and 4 over 3 minus 1 and 2 over 3 equals 2 and 2 over 3. And I hope that helps.